What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight, we got a good one for you. August 4th, it's Thursday night. We're doing our live ESPN PPR mock draft. We're going to be drafting from the 10th overall pick in this one, 12-team PPR mock draft, just a standard ESPN kind of format here. And I've done a bunch of mock drafts already. You can check out the playlist. I'll probably link that in the video or put it in one of the cards or something. But anyways, check out some of the draft positions, get used to some different ideas and start mocking. But anyways, this one's about to start in about 50 seconds or so. Again, we have the 10th overall pick, so I put Dalvin Cook here as the thumbnail man. I'd be happy to take Dalvin Cook there. What we're going to do is throughout the video, we're going to reference my 2022 draft kit projections. We'll kind of go back and forth. This is my flex tab here, so I kind of just see everybody, and I like to start my draft just looking at my top flex rankings and going from there. And if you want to check out the 2022 draft kit, do so in the description below. There's a link there for you, 2022 draft kit. You'll get access to all my projections, cheat sheets, rankings, articles, bonus stuff, and more. So check that out. And yeah, let's have a good draft tonight. We got a couple people with us. Good friend picking in the first spot here. We got Matt Bain with us tonight. We'll see what he does. I'm assuming it's Jonathan Taylor, but who knows? He gets a little funky sometimes. And then we do have our guy Aiden here at the 9th overall pick. And technically, man, we should have a football game started by now, but it looks like there's some heavy rain in the Canton area right now. So the game is a little bit on a postponed delay right now. I have the TV on in the corner over there, but I guess we'll see when that game starts. But it's basically there's really nobody decent playing for fantasy football purposes. There's some backup guys we want to see, especially like Snoop Connor for the Jags. And then, of course, we want to see Travon Walker for the Jacksonville Jags. So first pick is in. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Did it get canceled yet? I'm unsure, but no football for now. It is the official start of the season, though. And yeah, Snoop. I'm curious about Snoop because if James Robinson's not ready to go week one, Snoop Connor going to be involved with that offense. So we'll eye him up. But anyways, Jonathan Taylor first off the board, Christian McCaffrey number 2, Austin Eckler number 3, and Cooper Kupp number 4. It's kind of a status quo. I think the first 5 picks are all pretty much guaranteed in whatever order you want, but it's Jonathan Taylor, CMC, Eckler. Those are the first 3 running backs usually off the board. Cooper Kupp. And then the slide here on Justin Jefferson. We also have our good friend David Sasaso here. He's going to be drafting, it looks like, from the 6th spot. And he gets Justin Jefferson, one of my favorite players here. I actually love that pick the most in the first round. And then Jamar Chase. So that's kind of the consensus picks going on here. Again, I do have Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp, my top 2 players in PPR format. But I get it. If you want a running back, can't go wrong. These are the clear top 5. I got Jamar Chase as my 6. Diggs and Cook, those would be my targets. If I'm sitting after, if I'm in the top 6 or 7, I'm targeting one of the guys we mentioned. Otherwise, after that, I'm looking at Cook. Looks like Cook went in this draft here. So we're up to pick here with Najee Harris, Deebo Samuel, Stefon Diggs. I'm going to stick to my board here. Again, full PPR. I firmly believe Stefon Diggs is going to be in for a busy season, probably a 100-catch guy for sure. And I kind of think, who knows, like the overall wide receiver 1 is in Stefon Diggs' outcomes. Really depends on targets and touchdowns, but I do think locking in a top 5 receiver here. I have question marks on Najee, question marks on Joe Mixon, a couple of the other running backs there. I do have questions, and we're going to change our tune here in the 2nd round. I typically, if you've watched most of my stuff, I'm taking wide receiver early. I'm going to try and take a running back here, and I think if I'm picking in the back end of the 1st round, there's a couple ideas that you can do. Typically, if Dalvin Cook or Diggs are there, I want one of those players, and then we reevaluate round 2. But sometimes like Diggs even falls into round 2, but I'm willing to take him there. Again, I'm a little bit torn on Najee Harris. I'm not a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line. Downgrade at quarterback. They got a lot of questions here. It looks like Harris goes at 12. But the guys that I'm lining up here at the 15th overall pick, look at the 3 at the top of the board: CeeDee Lamb, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift. I would love to get a running back in this group here. So I don't want to force wide receiver, but if CeeDee Lamb's there, he's the clear-cut pick for me. I do have CeeDee Lamb graded out as my 13th overall player, but look at who I have ahead of him. I have Aaron Jones there, so I don't mind snagging Aaron Jones if he's there. I would have went with DeAndre Swift. I'm a big DeAndre Swift fan, especially in PPR. And I suppose, I don't want to knock on Najee Harris, but if I do go about drafting Najee Harris, I want to get another really good running back with him right away. Because I'm a little bit, again, I'm nervous about the overall Pittsburgh Steelers team as a whole, downgrade at quarterback. arguably the worst offensive line in the league, and there's been talks about keeping him a little bit fresher, maybe a little bit more touches to the other running back. So I do like that move there to get Najee and then DeAndre Swift, and a nice running back duo to start there. And we are on the board now. Joe Mixon just went. CeeDee Lamb technically is the top-rated player. I really want to get him. We could log him in here to our wide receiver 2 spot, which I think would be an advantage. But, man, if I'm sticking to my board, my top player available is Aaron Jones. So I'm going to go ahead and snag Aaron Jones. I do think you can make an argument for CeeDee Lamb. You could also make an argument. I'm going to be moving Alvin Kamara up my board slowly. But I'm going to take Aaron Jones here. I know he's ranked 21st, but, man, he's a top 10 running back. And then I think he's got top 5 upside too, as long as the touchdowns fall his way. But my thing on Alvin Kamara, I do have him ranked as my 25th best player right now in projections, but that's with roughly a 2 to 3 game suspension. And the more that I dig into Alvin Kamara's suspension and possibility of him not being suspended, I'm leaning towards it sounds like he's not going to have to serve a suspension this year. It sounds like 2023, the lawyers that he's got, they're going to try. He has another court case hearing at the end of September. And it sounds like they're going to push it back again. They're going to try and keep pushing that back. And I firmly believe Kamara is not going to miss any games this year unless it's an injury. So suspension-wise, I'm kind of removing that risk. And if I added 2 games of production back into Kamara's totals, that's probably going to put him right up in here in this DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones tier. So for him, he went right after me. It looks like Aiden got him at pick 14. Or pick 16, that's probably the correct ADP for Alvin Kamara. So I went with Aaron Jones. They're very similar players. Both guys are going to get almost 60, 70 receptions this year. So I like both guys. CeeDee Lamb was a steal here at looks like the 17th overall pick. You got Saquon's Barkley here, and then good pick here by David, Mike Evans. I like that pick there. Looks like David started with Justin Jefferson and Mike Evans. So 2 top 10 receivers for David. And it looks like Aiden's rocking Kamara and Devontae Adams. So pretty good start. Again, it's the first 2 rounds. You're pretty much guaranteed a stud. But I like what we got brewing here so far. I'm going to go back to my lineup here. And then we'll see what Matt Bames got brewing here at the 24 and 25 overall picks. Now, Javonte Williams was kind of in the headlines today. There was a couple of disputing reports. One report by a Denver reporter named Cecil Lammy, he was saying that before camp started, he anticipated an 80 to 20 split into Javonte's favor. And then he said through camp, Javonte was getting the first reps with the first team 6 out of 7 days. The 7th day is when the pads came on. Melvin Gordon was getting the first reps of the day at running back. So he kind of bumped his numbers down to about a 70-30 split, which is still, that's being very optimistic because then we had another Denver beat reporter come in and say, nah, it's probably more like a 55-45 split. So keep in mind last year, Javonte and Melvin split the backfield 50-50 right down the middle. They had the same amount of carries each. But Javonte had more receptions. So if that is, again, 50-50 going to 55-45, if that's a small split into Javonte's favor, I mean, he was RB17 last year with the Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock offense. I think the opportunity for Javonte to be a top 10, top 12 running back is there, but I think we need his ADP to fall into the 3rd round to take him there. So for what was he? Let's see, running back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's about fair. RB13, I think that's fair price for Javonte, actually. So end of the 2nd round, early 3rd rounds where you get some mad value for Javonte. So I kind of like that pick there. And then, yeah, Travis Kelce, Matt Bames snags Travis Kelce and DJ Moore. I love both those picks. Keenan Allen, Jalen Waddle, James Conner, and Mark Andrews to follow. And, yeah, Kamara Lawrence is trying to push the date back. He's going to be suspended that question, but if he makes it, yeah, man, that's the only thing I can think of is if they can't get it pushed back again, he risks being suspended at some point during the season, which would not be good, especially if it's during the fantasy playoffs. Like if it's in November or December, then we have a little bit of a risk there with Alvin Kamara. So unfortunately, we're not going to know until the end of September. So we're going to be going into the season blind with this Alvin Kamara suspension. But I think just based on what we've seen, probably no more than 2 or 4 games. It sounded like they were bracing for 6 at the most. So hopefully it's not going to affect things too much. But either way, Alvin Kamara, we know that when he's on the field and healthy, he's a top 10, top 5 potential back any given week. So we like that. And it looks like David here comes back and slams another receiver, Michael Pittman Jr. So I love this wide receiver group. He's got 3 of my top 10 wide receivers in projection. So I'm liking that. He's got a lot of good value on all these guys. Looks like Mike Evans is my 18th best player, Michael Pittman my 20th best player, and of course Jefferson my number 2. So he gets 3 picks in my top 30. So that's a really good start there. And then we'll see what Aiden does here at the 33rd pick. We'll see if he snipes one of my guys. There's a handful of players I like on the board. AJ Brown, a fun receiver option. Looks like he goes Terry McLaurin. So I'm up to pick here. There's a handful of guys that I like here. We got Aaron Jones and Stefon Diggs. I'm slowly coming around to AJ Brown being, especially if you started, if you're picking with the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th overall pick, you're in the back end of the first round. I think taking AJ Brown is a priority if he falls there in the 3rd round, because you're potentially getting a guy here who he's going to lead the team in touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. He's going to lead the team in receiving yards and receptions. This is guaranteed. I know it's a low volume offense, but he technically was in a low volume offense in Tennessee. And now you got, the best friend narrative with Jalen Hurts, and just good vibes in the Eagles offense as a whole. So to me, AJ Brown, I have him right here as my 31st player off the board. So I'm getting a solid 3rd round value here on a guy that I'm just very, very excited to get on my team. And he's going to operate as my wide receiver too. And he's just got that alpha male, that alpha receiver personality where he could go for 30 points in any given game. He's an NFC East, defense here. So we'll see how he clashes against the Cowboys, but I think he can take advantage of the other teams. So AJ Brown, one of my favorite players at the moment right now. Moving up my boards, I have him at wide receiver 17. There's a couple other guys that I like a little bit higher yet, but in terms of ADP, and we get sniped on one of them. Mike Williams was going to be the pick. So unfortunately, we missed on Big Mike here. I was hoping he would fall through, but I had a feeling I wasn't going to get AJ Brown and Mike Williams. So we're going to lose a guy, I guess, eventually. But I like this start so far. Aaron Jones, Stefon Diggs, AJ Brown, we're locked into some really strong offenses here. J.K. Dobbins, interesting guy here. I'm starting to like J.K. Dobbins. ESPN just has him ranked way too damn high, like 34th overall. He's more of a 5th or 6th round pick right now, so I'm not going to be doing that. And then you see our guy here, Team DeCarlo takes Jerry Jeudy off the board over Courtland Sutton. I don't know if I agree with that. I think I have Courtland Sutton ranked very, very high, 56th overall on ESPN. This is just way too low for a guy of this caliber. It sounded like he had a really good day at practice today. So I'm going to land on Courtland Sutton because I don't think he's going to get back to me. If I didn't want to go Sutton here, my pick would be Brandon Cooks. But I'm going to go with Sutton, lock him into my wide receiver number 3 spot. And the thing about Sutton is, like, I actually have, in terms of my receiver rankings, I got him as my wide receiver 13. I have him ahead of A.J. Brown. So in terms of my flex rankings, I got A.J. Brown at 31, Courtland Sutton at 26, and of course I have Aaron Jones up here at 12 with who did we end up as our first overall pick? I cannot remember. Stefon Diggs. Stefon Diggs is my 7th overall player. So far, so good. Aiden comes back and he snags Travis Etienne. He finally gets his first Jag off the board here. So AK-41, Etienne, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin. I like the build so far here. Nice and well balanced. Let's see what our guy David does. Probably needs a running back, but he doesn't need to force it if he doesn't want to. He could potentially get, Jacobs, Gibson, these guys both have a lot of question marks. There's a lot of competition. And he goes and gets Kyle Pitts. I love that move, David. That's again, the running backs weren't really speaking to me, and you go ahead and you plug in one of the best young tight ends in this game here, and I think he's appropriately priced. When I do best ball drafts, he goes like 30th overall. Like, he's a mid 3rd rounder, but to get him in the 4th round, I think you're locking in top 5 tight end production. And as much flack as Marcus Mariota gets, Marcus Mariota's best seasons came when he was throwing to Delanie Walker, the tight end for the Titans. So I really like that move. 0 running back is looking strong here. And how is Brees so much higher than ETN? So I didn't see, I can't remember the rankings here. If I show drafted, let me see. So Brees Hall, let's see, where is Mr. Brees? So they got Brees up here at 35. That's a bit rich. End of the 3rd round, a little bit rich. I like him at the end of the 4th. And yeah, ETN, where is ETN on this list? I don't even see him. Am I stupid here? Travis Etienne. Down here at 64, so like that math is whack. Travis Etienne, I'm taking Etienne over Brees Hall all day. And in terms of my running back rankings, I got Etienne as my RB16, which means like after you see James Conner go, I mean, I think that's kind of the clear. There's like a top 15 break, and then after that, it's kind of whatever you feel like. But I think James Conner marks a point in the draft where I want to look at Etienne as a PPR running back. So I do like. I agree with you, Aiden. But let's see what Matt Boehm does here. He's on the clock right now. Don't tell me what to do, Matt Boehm. Screw your control F. But let's look around here. So he's on the board right now. He's got a well-balanced draft. Jonathan Taylor, DJ Moore. He gets Brandon Cooks. That's a fantastic value. And Travis Kelce. There was a lot of tweets today about Brandon Cooks just being unguardable. Like he was just tearing it up. It sounds like he's going to be in for another big season here. You got to imagine 80 to 90 catches as a floor here, maybe more, easily over 1,000 yards and maybe 8 to 10 touchdowns. So I love Brandon Cooks there, and he gets him as his wide receiver too. And then he gets Justin Herbert on the slide there. So no stacking going on here, but I do like Justin Herbert. You don't need Keenan Allen or Mike Williams to draft Justin Herbert. So it's a good move either way. But we'll go ahead and start to queue up our next pick here. We're picking at 58. I can't really say much because I got David Sharp picking in front of me, pick number 54, and we got Aiden here at 57. So I don't want to give away too much, but I do like, in terms of the positions available, I do like the QBs. I like the running backs. I don't like the running backs. I like the QBs and I like the wide receivers, I think, right now. But we'll see what David does here at 54. Again, he's got this awesome 0 RB team going so far. Tons of catches in PPR leagues, man. He's getting probably. This is easily over 400 catches almost between all four of these guys here. So he's stacked in the PPR department. So we'll see what he does. If you wanted to take a running back here, I really don't see the value in it. Antonio Gibson, we like Gibson's talent. We don't like his situation. He's going to be losing passing down work to JD McKissic, and there's rumors that he's going to lose the goal line work to the rookie Brian Robinson from Alabama. So it looks like Gibson just went off the board, so that's an easy pick here. I'm passing up on him in the 5th round. When I do best ball drafts, he's usually a 7th round pick. So Gibson, people are fading him pretty hard. Patrick Mahomes, the next QB off the board. And then that's kind of the break in the QB tier. If I just show you real quick, Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, those are generally the first 3 QBs off the board. And then you see the break here too. Like there's a huge step from 57, that's where Herbert's ranked, down to Lamar Jackson. So for me, I'm probably not going to look at QB at 58 here. Maybe I'll consider it at 63. Otherwise, we'll just kind of run it. We'll run it and see what happens with the next rounds. But we'll go back and pull this up here. It looks like David continues to haul in the wide receivers. DK Metcalf, I love that pick. And again, when I'm doing these drafts, I don't play with ESPN standard settings. In most leagues that I play, I either start 2 receivers and 2 flexes, meaning you could start 4 receivers. So Metcalf wouldn't be on the bench, or most leagues start 3 receivers and a flex. So I think for the ESPN standard settings here, I don't care that I have DK Metcalf on the bench there. You continue to take talent when it comes up. So good picking there. Team Sullivan on the clock. Then we got Tobin and then myself. So I'm looking around here. There's a handful of guys that I like. I'm seeing at least 3 players that I like a lot. Depends on what Aiden does here, but I do see, and he takes Miles Sanders in the end of the 5th round. So that's awesome. That's going to leave. Okay, so Aiden did get the one guy I was looking at, Darren Waller. Otherwise, the other option here for me was going to be Darnell Mooney. So we'll snag Darnell Mooney here to be our 4th wide receiver. Technically, again, he's not going to be on our bench. He's going to be in our starting lineup as a flex option for us. But there's some really good players here. I don't like the running backs in this range. I think David's doing a smart draft here. He's going to pound some running backs later in the draft. But look at the ADP drops on some of these guys. Like the fact that you can get Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damien Harris, Tony Pollard, A.J. Dillon. You can get a lot of these guys later in the draft here. So I like the value of running backs a little bit later. I mean, Chase Edmonds, a bunch of backup guys down here too. So I like the value here. And basically what I did, I got Aaron Jones locked in. Like I don't need to force a running back 2 here. The value of the board is Elijah Mitchell, who's sounds like his workload's going to be reduced. They want to make sure he stays healthy. So you're going to see more Tyrion Davis-Price, more Trey Sermon, more Jeff Wilson. That sounds messy. And then you factor in Trey Lance potentially stealing some carries from the goal line. And there we go. We finally got confirmation that there's going to be a game It's kicking off hopefully in 20 minutes or so. So we'll see what happens there. And I did get sniped. This Team Collins did get my next pick. I was going to go after Allen Robinson here, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But if I'm looking around here, ESPN ADP in the 6th round, it's kind of ugly. Elijah Mitchell, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, Cordero Patterson, Devin Singletary. Don't really love any of these guys here. I'm not going to bank on them being, stud players for my fantasy team. Michael Thomas intrigues me. Hunter Renfrow, Drake London. Maybe the quarterback is the move here. Otherwise, there are more receivers that I like further down the list. But I'm not going to be guaranteed on anybody here. And yeah, I think I was going to snipe you on Allen Robinson if he was there. So and then AJ Dillon, that was actually going to be one of my default picks. It's criminally low. They have him ranked 114th on this list. Like, that is insane. He's a top 60, top 70 player this season. So we need to fix that. I'm hoping this pick here, I'm going to snipe Aiden Tobin with this pick. I'm going to snipe him right now. Let's see. Aiden's got a well-built draft. He doesn't need anything, but I'm not gonna let him get JuJu Smith-Schsuter. I'm gonna take those 90 receptions and put JuJu Smith-Schsuter as my wide receiver 5. And again, we'll play matchups and things like that. But I'm feeling really good at the receiver position. Stefon Diggs, AJ Brown, Courtland Sutton, Darnell Mooney, JuJu Smith-Schsuter. It's a PPR league. You want your receivers. And yeah, I really don't get it, man. AJ Dillon, to me, he's a top 24 back, like, locked in. And if you look at his numbers last year, of course, a lot of people say, oh, well, he only did well because AJ Dillon only played well because Aaron Jones got hurt. Aaron Jones missed like 1.5 games last year. I know he didn't get as much work when he returned from his injury, but either way, AJ Dillon was RB22 last season, and he only scored 7 touchdowns. I would say if I put it out there in the field for you guys to say, what's the over-under on AJ Dillon touchdowns, I'm going to guarantee everyone's taking over 7. And then all the reports out of camp is they want him to run the ball more. So he's probably going to flirt. Again, he had 187 carries last year. I'm going to probably put him up over 200 carries. And then his reception total, like Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur were both gushing about AJ Dillon today, saying he's a great receiver. He understands assignments. He's just so, we want to get him the ball in space, all that good stuff. So all the numbers are pointing upwards for AJ Dillon, and that doesn't even really affect Aaron Jones because Aaron Jones is going to catch a lot of passes. So AJ Dillon, to me, he's a rock solid running back 2 flex option for you. But let's recap here. And of course, I knew Aiden was lining up JuJu. He goes and gets Amari Cooper here next. There's Michael Thomas, Lamar Jackson. It looks like our guy David got sniped on Lamar. He gets Elijah Mitchell, which at that point, I don't hate it. I don't like Elijah Mitchell in the 5th round, but I guess if he's going to fall into the 6th round, you're going to get a guy that's probably going to touch the ball like 15 times a game. And he's a damn good runner. Shanahan trusts him as long as he's healthy. I think Elijah Mitchell's going to be a nice running back 2 most weeks for you. And if he gets the touchdown, that's what's going to put him up over the top. So I like what David's got brewing here. There's Tyler Lockett, Dalton Schultz, Kareem Hunt. That's pretty high for Kareem Hunt. Kyler Murray, and then Matt Boehm. Let's see what Matt Boehm's got brewing here. He gets Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he comes back with Hunter Renfrow in the flex. So Matt's got his full starting lineup set here. It looks pretty good, well balanced here. And man, I love the AFC South or the AFC West. He's got Herbert, he's got Clyde, he's got Kelsey, and Hunter Renfrow. So he's got a lot of juice over there in the AFC West. So I like. That's one of the best divisions. Like, it's almost like a default. Like when you're up to pick and you'd be like, okay, I like this guy, but this guy plays in the AFC West. I might almost just break ties for AFC West players. But anyways, we're moving and grooving here into the 7th round. If you guys are still here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you are new. I've seen a nice little boost in subscriptions the last week or so. We're on a pace here. We're hoping to get to 500 maybe before the season starts. So if I'm putting out something that you like, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. It helps the channel grow. But we got David back up here. Now I'm starting to like the running backs. Matt sniped the Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That would have been a good pick here. But David gets his quarterback. Great pick here. He gets Jalen Hurts there. Fantastic pick. This is a sexy team here. This is a very sexy team. And then, like, I'm totally cool with RB2. Like, RB running back is one of the easiest spots to find in the first month or so. And it's just, there's so many injuries and you kind of just got to ride these windows. I really don't mind being light on my running back too. And basically with David's approach here, he's just going to pound some running backs late in the draft, and he's going to play the hot hand. He's just going to, whoever has the opportunity, whoever's making plays, if he just needs 8 to 10 points at running back, you can find guys in PPR leagues to do that. So I'm totally fine going into a season knowing that my weak spot is my running back too. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here. I don't have a tight end or a running back too, but there are some guys starting to pop up the list that we like quite a bit. And it just sucks because I love I love the receivers here. There's just so many guys that I love at the receiver position. But anyways, we are up to pick here. Did DiCarlo and Collins, do these guys have, I don't know if they have quarterbacks yet. I wish I could see the board here. Drake London, Devonta Smith, Dameon Harris. I'm going to go ahead and just collect my favorite quarterback here at this point. That's Russell Wilson. I'm going to stack him with Courtland Sutton. That way, who cares? If Judy scores, I'm fine with it. I get the Russell Wilson points. But if Sutton scores, that's who I have projected to lead the team in receiving touchdowns, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Good pick here. Right after I took Wilson, you see DiCarlo take Zach Ertz. That's a very strong pick. I worry about the longevity of Zach Ertz. I think he's going to be very, very hot the first 2 months of the season while DeAndre Hopkins is away. But sometimes I would just worry about Zach Ertz kind of falling off towards November, as kind of that's when Kyler Murray starts to fall off too. And then Team Collins, great pick. Allen Lazard, I have no problem with getting Allen Lazard here at the end of the 7th round. But so far, I don't have a running back too. I don't have a tight end yet. Some guys that are making sense to me. There's tons of wide receivers here that I really, really like. Guys like Elijah Moore, Traylon Burks, the rookie receivers, Drake London, Chris Olave. I think if you guys take one thing away from tonight's video, it's you should take your favorite rookie wide receiver this year. I have five good ones here pulled up for you guys that you should take. Even Jahan Dotson intrigues me. And of course, Jalen Tolbert down here. There's probably 8 to 9 rookie wide receivers. I didn't even queue up Garrett Wilson. There's a ton of rookie wide receivers here that you guys should be targeting in your draft. And yeah, the new AFC best, going to be a gauntlet. Basically must-watch TV anytime those guys are playing. So good move here. Team Collins gets the Allen Lazard and the Aaron Rodgers stack. So that's a very nice move. I like that quite a bit. Is there a way for me? We're up on the board here. It looks like Ramondre Stevenson just went. Now I'm at the point where I could force a running back here. I don't know if I want to. Maybe I wait and see what happens. Otherwise, the move to me, I could take TJ Hawkinson or Dallas Goedert. I like both these guys quite a bit. Goddard's ranked really, really low. But for me, the value on the board, I'm going to get the #1 receiver for, I know it's the Jets, but I'm just going to collect Elijah Moore here. He's been basically just dominant at Jets camp here, and I don't really care who the quarterback is. And then Aiden, that was my next idea, is Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk's been having a hell of a camp too. The only thing that worries me is I know he's having a great camp, but he's got to compete with Debo for targets, and the offense is going to be very run heavy. So you have to compete with Debo and Kittle for targets, as well as you're kind of on the back burner because it's a running team. So I would have taken Brandon Ayuk, but I think for me, Elijah Moore, that makes a little bit more sense. But look at the rookie receivers, man. Drake London off the board here. It looks like David goes and gets Kenneth Walker. I like that pick, just collecting another running back talent here. Maybe we don't start Kenneth Walker right away. You wait till a guy like Rashad Penny. He's been kind of known, to be made of glass. So I think potential, you can see Kenneth Walker starting at some point this season. And Lance. Yeah, the Lance and Ayuk connection seems to be the strongest one coming out of camp. And I didn't even see it, but Aiden with a really nice pick. He sniped me on Christian Kirk on the round before here. So that's a fantastic pick. Everyone's kind of filling up their benches now. And I know I got Mooney, JuJu, and Elijah Moore on my bench. Those are some stud receivers here. But again, technically I'd be starting one of those 3 guys, but I have a really strong receiver group on the bench. I don't know if I need another one here. And at this point, I'm probably going to change my focus. Look at the running backs. I'll look at the tight ends. A lot of tight ends on the board here. I think Dallas Goedert being slept on right now. I don't know why he's ranked 123rd. Goddard's a guy here. I got A.J. Brown already, so I don't know if I want to stack a tight end with my wide receivers. I don't know if that makes the most sense to me, but Goddard's going to be a very productive player this season. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching this video, do not draft Mike Gesicki. He's not going to have a good season at all. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waller are going to lead the team in targets, both probably over 120 plus targets. And the early reports out of Dolphins camp is he's a blocker. They're going to use him as a blocking tight end. They didn't extend him. They gave him the they franchise tagged him. They didn't want to pay him, to stick around. So there's just uncertainty there. And Mike Gesicki's already been on the record saying, I'm basically a blocking tight end. So I don't know if I like that. Good pick here, Tony Pollard. I would have loved to slap Tony Pollard on this team if he would have made it back here, but it looks like we're going to have to settle for some other guys here. And yeah, man, that's when you go up against me, we're going to be snagging each other's guys most of the draft. It looks like, you got several players that Kamara, ETN, those are some of my favorites there. I love Waller. I love Kirk. I love Ayuk. The one guys I could probably live without, like Devontae. You got Devontae and Darren Waller. So I see you, Aiden. I know what QB you're going after next. So we'll see what you can do. Let me just double check here. You got a little bit of a wait here. Maybe you can get him in the 10th round. You can get your guy. But so far so good. I like my Russell Wilson. If you wait for quarterback though, like what's Joe Burrow doing? I bet Matt Boehm had a tough time not taking Joe Burrow. He's our Cincinnati Bengal fan, but he already had Herbert, so he didn't want to do it. But Joe Burrow hanging around here. I've been saying it a lot. Matthew Stafford, I don't trust him. He's got elbow tendonitis right now. He's been getting injections all offseason. He's on a pitch count. I know he's probably going to be fine, but the longevity of his season, I have a little bit of a question mark there. So I'd rather pull Trey Lance. I'd rather pull Joe Burrow, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, something like that. And as long as I'm drafting with you, I know I'm not going to get ETN, but I will try and beat you for Kirk. In best ball drafts, ETN goes top 40. He's a top 40 pick. So ESPN ADP, I'm hoping they'll give us some kind of ADP refresher. But damn, Trey, why is there goes Burks. Good pick by Burks. And then David gets my James Cook. God damn it. I am missing all the running backs here. Is there anybody left for me to take? I suppose, it's hold your nose. It's the grossest pick I can make. It's probably Rashad Penny, but I don't want to do it. Let me look at, again, Chris Olave should probably be off the board. Again, Trey Lance should be off the board by now. Sky Moore's out there. Jacoby Myers. There's tons of really good players available. Tons of good tight ends left too. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab Nyheim Hines. I'm gonna put him into my RB2. Nyheim Hines is gonna be a top 30 running back, and I like him. I trust him more than Rashad Penny. I think at this point, get out of here with Marlon Mack, man. I was just reading a report before the show that actually the Texans staff really likes Dameon Pierce, and from the sounds of it, the best back at Texans camp is Rex Burkhead so far. So I like Marlon Mack, but he's kind of just a plotter to me. He's just a stopgap guy that eventually you're probably going to see the rookie Dameon Pierce. You're probably going to see Rex Burkhead catching passes. It just sounds a little messy to me. But I'm cool with going zero running back here. I do get rewarded with Rashad Penny. I don't feel great about it. In terms of tight ends here, it looks like James Robinson, Julio Jones off the board. I'm fine with waiting on tight end here, but I don't want to miss Dawson Knox. So I'm going to grab Dawson Knox. And at this point, I like Knox. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bench spots left. I'm going to grab another tight end and probably throw 3 daggers at running back and see what happens. But with a lineup like this, I know my receivers are going to be good the entire season. I have 6 guys. Most of them are top 15, top 20. And I got a couple guys here. Like Elijah Moore is going to probably be a wide receiver too. Like I feel really good about these. All 6 of my receivers could be top 25. Dawson Knox, I think most people like him. And we'll see here. I'm going to try and get some running backs to fill out the rest of the draft. But still a lot of rookie receivers left. You got Sky Moore, Dotson, Tolbert. I guess if you want to take a stab at Watson or Williams, you can totally do that. I don't know if I like that, but there's tons of rookie receivers available here. But let's review some of the other teams. Aiden so far, he gets his Derek Carr. He needed to do that. So Carr, Kamara, ETN, a lot of pass catches here. Adams and McLaurin, Waller and Cooper. A really solid lineup here. This is a good draft, Aiden. Kirk, Ayuk, and Hardman. I don't know if I love Hardman. I think I might have taken I might have taken Sky Moore over Hardman at that point, but I can't knock it. I mean, Hardman's been making plays in camp. I just think Sky Moore, we don't know what exactly he is yet. There might be some hidden upside in that pick. And then let's take a look and see what David's got brewing. So David executed the zero RB draft almost to perfection. He's got Jalen Hurts. His receivers are Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr., and DK Metcalf. That's just disgusting. And then Kyle Pitts, man, this is a really fun draft. And then the running back group. We know we're going to be kind of just playing it as it goes, but you got Elijah Mitchell, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, and Rashad Penny. So you get exactly. I was just going to say, you get the backfield here. You're probably going to start Penny to begin the season. Anything happens to Penny, you got Walker. So very good idea. I like this. And they're both cheap. Like Walker cost an 8th or 9th round pick. Penny cost a 9th or 10th round pick. You could legit just lock in the Seattle backfield here and just kind of play it by ear. So you did a very smart thing here. I like what that ended up being for you. And now you can just kind of play the running back wheel and see who outlasts each other. Matt Bain, what do we got brewing here? We got the Herbert at the top. Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. These guys were highly debated a couple of years ago in the dynasty drafts, the first and second picks off the board. There's DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks, Travis Kelce, Hunter Renfrow. And then some good depth pieces here. You got Melvin Gordon, Michael Carter, Jarvis Landry, Tyler Boyd. These guys are all kind of like just really consistent, safe guys that you want to whip out, and you feel good about starting these guys. So I'm up to pick here. There's some backup tight ends, a lot of quarterbacks floating up to the boards here. I got to start pounding some running backs here. So guys that stick out to me, sure, I'll take JD McKissic. At this point, I don't really care too much. He's just a productive receiving running back here, and I can whip him out for most times. He's probably going to catch 3, 4, 5 passes per game. And again, I'm going to be competing with him with Nyheim Hines. So I know I'm light on running back, but we'll find some guys here coming up. Again, Marlon Mack, Dameon Pierce. I might actually take Dameon Pierce here and see what I can do with him. The rookie running backs are interesting at this point in the draft. Otherwise, let me look at the tight ends real quick. Irv Smith Jr.'s got a weird little thumb injury. I think people are kind of sleeping on him. He's kind of a discount right now. But all the tight ends are ranked really, really low, so I'm probably going to pivot there. In terms of backup quarterbacks, if you play in a 1 QB league, I don't think it makes sense to take a backup quarterback, unless it's like Trey Lance or something. So we'll kind of pass there. It looks like the value of the draft is still wide receiver a little bit here, but there's nobody that I love on this team. So we'll go ahead and collect. I'm going to collect Dameon Pierce, rookie running back for the Houston Texans, and I'm going to be patient with him. I don't need to start him week 1, but if it comes, a few months into the season and he's a guy worth holding on to, we'll find it out. But so far, so good. There's still a bunch of running backs that I like late in the draft. So at this point, I'm just going to be hoarding some running backs here. I got room for one more guy. Let's see what David does here. He gets Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I can't argue with not stacking, but just collecting Chiefs wide receivers, because we really don't know what it's going to look like. JuJu, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Mecole Hardman. There's going to be a lot of work for all these guys, and it's kind of exciting to get a piece of Mahomes. So I think that's a fine move there. Let me look around here, and let's see what Aiden's got here. He says his bench is iffy. I mean, he's strong with Kirk and Ayuk. I love that. Hardman, you're probably not. I mean, unless there's an injury, I don't see Hardman being started over Ayuk and Kirk, just because. I mean, Kirk's going to lead the team in Jacksonville with receptions. Ayuk's going to be a strong play. Hardman, still unsure about that. But I like Tyler Algier and then Raheem Mostert. We really don't know what Miami wants to do or be as a backfield. They did sign Chase Edmonds to the most money, but they also went after Raheem Mostert, and they got Sony Michel. And keep in mind, the coaching staff there is San Francisco minded. It's kind of the offensive coordinator in San Francisco last year is now coaching Mike McDaniel. He's coaching for the Dolphins, and Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert might have the best familiarity with that offense. So I think putting Raheem on the bench, we know that when Raheem is on the field and healthy, he's a damn good running back. So it's not a bad idea to sometimes just collect the best talent. Looks like Christian Watson, Marquez Valdes-Scantling for our guy David. He's got one more pick here. He gets who does he get here? Jamal Williams, can't knock it. Another good running back to add to the stable for a 0 RB draft. Matt Bain collected Robbie Anderson, Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry. just a receiving group of old men. Matt Boehm collecting veteran, fine age talent here. But anyways, I'm on the board again. In terms of tight end, Higbee, Ingram, yeah. Nobody I love. Let me just look at the running backs. I'm going to get one guy that I really like, and that's Kenneth Gainwell, one of my favorite receiving running backs. And we'll pair him with we got a bunch of receiving running backs. We got Nyheim, Hines, JD McKissic, Dameon Pierce, which I don't know if he's going to be receiving the ball that much, but Kenneth Gainwell. So I'll figure something out at the running back position. As long as I'm getting 8 to 10 points, I really don't care. And again, as far as my projections, I mean, I got Nyheim here sitting at RB31. I have Gainwell at RB36. I do have McKissic here at RB40, and then I'm not sure where I have Dameon Pierce yet, just because Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead are ahead of him right now. But I do think come late season, Dameon Pierce could be a guy that helps us win leagues. But anyways, Matt Boehm's on auto pick. The game is officially started here. It looks like wow, it looks like first overall pick here, getting some pressure on the quarterback. Travon Walker, baby. Exciting. So this is good timing here. I got one more pick to make. As far as running back or tight end, do I need a backup tight end? There's tons of guys here. I think I'd rather just snag another running back here. Who sticks out? Who do I want to hold on to for the season? Screw it. I'm just gonna step into Alexander Mattison. Anything happens to Dalvin Cook, we got one. And yeah, Walker was putting some heavy pressure. I don't know who the quarterback is there. Was that Jarrett Stidham? Something like that. But anyways, like the draft is pretty much over. We have defenses and we have kickers left to go here. I'll just give you guys some final thoughts on defenses and kickers. I got to make a YouTube short about it, but the Cleveland Browns are one of my favorite teams to draft to start the season. Let me pull up the Browns schedule. I know there's a lot of ugliness with the Browns right now, but their first games are at Carolina, against the Jets at home, against the Steelers at home, and at Atlanta. I mean, at what point do these offenses scare us? Probably not. I guess the Baker Mayfield game is interesting here, but just some low-scoring games potentially the first few weeks for the Browns. Other teams that I do like here, a lot of the good defenses are already off the board, but some interesting starts here. There's one team that I like in particular. That's going to be the Denver Broncos. They get to go to Seattle week 1, and then they're hosting the Texans. So if you want a defense to wait for, the Broncos make a lot of sense. That might even let me take a kicker before here. Whether you get, again, when you take a kicker, you just want to get a guy on a high-scoring offense. And is Josh Jacobs really playing? Maybe they're getting some starters in. Did Josh Jacobs really get some work here? Oh my God, Josh Jacobs is actually playing. Interesting. I don't know, man. That's a head scratcher. But anyways, the Raiders are in the red zone right now. But this draft is pretty much over. I guess we'll kind of finish it with this thought. I'll take my kicker, and I'm going to take the Broncos, and then we'll get out of here. You guys can enjoy the footballs tonight. We'll be back next Thursday, and I believe there's going to be more games next Thursday. Like, it's officially here, preseason football. The season is upon us, so this is a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, kicker, if you guys play with kicker leagues, you just want to get a piece of a team that's a high-scoring offense. So Tampa Bay makes sense. 49ers are going to kick a lot of field goals. I like the Minnesota kicker. I'm interested in the Chargers kicker, but they tend to go for 2 quite a bit here. So whatever. I'll take the Bucs kicker, and then my defense to end the draft. Again, I'm going to go with that Denver Broncos start because I know I'm going to start them for the first 2 weeks. And it looks like the Raiders are up 3-0. They take the field goal. So I'm going to slap the Broncos. And that's going to do it for tonight's draft. Just to recap real quick, I ended up – it was kind of it wasn't a zero running back approach, but it was kind of like a hero RB where Aaron Jones is going to be our guy all year, and then we'll figure out the RB2 spot. But Russell Wilson, Aaron Jones, Nyheim Hines at RB2, Stefon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Dawson Knox, Courtland Sutton, special teams kicker, whatever. But our bench is juicy. We got look at our bench here, starting with technically Darnell, Mooney, JuJu Smith-Schsuter, Elijah Moore on our bench. We also have JD McKissic, Kenneth Gainwell, Alexander Mattison, Dameon Pierce. So a lot of fun bench pieces. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Again, we'll go live next Thursday as well. I'll probably sprinkle in a couple other mocks along the way, maybe some best ball drafts. But go and watch some preseason football. Enjoy your night. And thank you guys so much for your time. Peace.